Slack. And I can show that off to you too if you're curious. But I have shared, and I can also send you this link, but I have shared on the Visual Arts Slack this for applicants folder, which is accessible to anyone with an @Bennington EDU email. And so let's see, these are the guidelines. And then I also have a sample that I will be, a sample application that I'll be going through with you. So we're the SEA, Student Endowment for the Arts, a group of students, 3 of us, me, Phoebe, Ara, who's a senior, and Dobbin, who's a senior. We are in the process of looking for more people to join, especially since we're all graduating. We would love some underclassmen who think this might be their thing to think about it, get involved. We have 3 deadlines this term. I can't highlight, but as you can see right here. See, I was worried this would happen, but we can do this. Any questions so far? Do you guys want to look at Slack? Talk about it if that's something you're using for your classes while we wait for this to load.
Phoebe, if someone does want to apply for the committee, what's the easiest way for them to be in touch?
Ooh, you can email us at sea@bennington.edu. We will respond within 24 hours, I would say, and are happy to answer any questions. You can also talk to us or if you see us around campus, or you can even send a DM to our Instagram account. Here we go. But we have 2 types of projects, two types of grants, the materials and projects. I really wish this was loading. But a projects grant is $500 and a materials grant is $250. They cover different things in the sense that the materials for $250 is for more basic exploration. You don't have basic, that's not the right word, for exploration. You don't have to have an idea of a final product. And you just, you want to experiment. Maybe you need them for a class. There are, multiple ways to get especially for VA, the class equipment packages that they sell at the bookstore. And sometimes in BAPA, a faculty member will have equipment that they can loan you. It really varies from class to class, but I know sometimes for a class like printmaking, tools can be a little bit hard to come by. Or perhaps you want to get some really nice paper and you want to experiment with that, but you don't really know what you're going to print. This is where you would come. And it's max $250, which is the opposite of a projects grant. Projects grant, we do not just get VA things like for materials. We get theater. Sometimes we get asked for the rights to a script. Those kind of we handle on a case-by-case basis. But it's kind of it's a bit broader. Some people have asked for travel, but this is really for people to explore. Most commonly, your senior work. We get a lot of projects grants for seniors, but also if you want to do a partnership with a friend or put on a show or put on, it can be dance, theater, music, anything, we can kind of help you out. Are there any questions about that?
Are you able to tell us what kind of the max money is, how much money you have got within the fund, or is that
500? So here we go. We're back. What is the SEA mission statement? There's the 3 of us. Could take a read. We do have this confidentiality statement here. We ask for your name and so on. Basically, what that means is we're not looking at the applications blindly. We will see your name, but we do not talk about it. We do not talk about it with anyone outside of the committee. We do not talk about it in public. It is not, something that gets around, but we know who you are. because we need your resume, so on. So all proposals should be attached as a PDF with all supporting photo documentation and other materials embedded in the file. So you can make one on Word or Google Doc and just export as PDF, download it, attach it to an email, and then email it to sea@bennington.edu. Document naming here. The reason we ask for this is both kind of for our sakes. In the spring, when things got a little bit chaotic, we moved to like a Google form. But the reason that we ask you to do this is because we really do want to prepare you for grant writing in the future outside of Bennington. You can always write and apply for money for a type of project that you want to do. But we're really open to talking to you about it. And we'll have like an open Zoom session, I think later in the term, or maybe like there's also writing tutors who can help you just to make it like, you know, it's money. So we got to make sure that you're going to do something with it. That like, I don't know, justification sounds like a bad word, but here are the two grants. Statement of intent, resume, for materials, class schedule, table of projected cost, supporting materials. So any past work, anything that can basically prove that you're going to pull off what you're about to pull off. It doesn't have to be like the exact same thing, but just, you know, that you can complete a project. Projects, a little bit more. Week by week timeline is a little bit looser, but both of them ask for a table of projected costs, and we do have in the for applicants folder an example of what this would look like. And two little example scenarios there, which are kind of funny. So you can do 2 people for projects. I don't really see why not you could for materials, but it's just not usually what people go for. Art and technology grant, I'm not going to talk about because that's a whole other beast that we're reckoning with. These are all available to you, all these documents. What would you guys like to see? Would anyone want to see a budget report example, materials versus projects, like breakdown again, or do you want to look at a sample application? Or do you kind of get the gist?
I think if you wouldn't mind, Phoebe, I think the budget report is cool because I think one of the things that I've heard this from students is that really understanding what it means to apply and kind of the rigor involved is really helpful for kind of qualifying the degree of preparation involved with the application process itself. But definitely that, and then to Elliot's point, I think the sample would be awesome to see too.
I can't see any of you guys anymore, so I feel so awkward, just like speaking into the void. So feel free to ask questions. Thank you, Matt. Name, project. This would be included in your PDF, which I can show you. Film, all of your items, what you want to buy. Website link is great. Also, if you just want to include, you know, the source and the price, that's also fine. What you're going to use it for and price, and see the totals right there, which is nice and easy to read. This is to make sure that you're not asking for anything that we can't find you anywhere else. Like our priority, so that the money can be shared with as many people as possible, is also look into solutions that are on campus for you. For example, film processing fees. You can do that here at Bennington. This is a bit more applicable to when we went remote and left campus in the spring. So something like that is something we can just like cross off and be like, actually, we have another source for you for that, but we'll pay for the other things. That's that document. Materials versus projects or sample. I'm just gonna go straight in. Name is blocked out, but this is from a couple years ago. Here we go. Is it gonna scroll? I'm just gonna do this. It'll be a little janky. It's not gonna look as nice as she made it, but oh, here we go. Statement of intent. So it's like, you know, page numbers, a nice front page, resume. A resume, I don't know if you can hear the garbage truck outside on 2nd Street, but it's extremely loud, so I'm very sorry. Resumes is something that you can do with the Fieldwork Term Office and Career Development. They will help you go through that on Handshake, I'm sure, when you talk about Fieldwork Term, etc. Additional skills are always fun because that's when we see like you do know, you know, this person knows how to develop film. Project description and goals. This is separate from your statement of intent. And then timeline, but it's not like every week I will achieve this. This is the general situation. We don't expect you to, you know, have every single detail planned out. Materials, fabrication, Home Depot, 500, and then supporting materials. So this is for someone's senior work. So this is not something that you would, the detail of something you might see for a materials proposal, grant proposal, but, you know, a little bit pared down. Any questions about any of this? It's nice just to look at art together. We can look at the final project too. That'll take me a second to pull up. Past work. Any questions? Any questions about VAPA in general? I'm the SEPC rep for visual arts. That's where I recognize some of you from the little orientation session. Anything?
Yeah, Phoebe, what are you looking for when the application is submitting? What are examples of things that you have seen that have kind of either persuaded the group to approve or perhaps have been like, I'm not sure we can do this? Like what, you know what I mean? Like obviously in a lot of ways, this is an opportunity to write a proposal. Like you would write a proposal even after you graduate college, you're looking for grant funding. So what are some of the criteria that you would frown on, and what do you think kind of helps sell it? Like, what does that look like?
I am going to close my window because that's extreme, but I would love to answer that. Ridiculous. Chronicles of Zoom. So there's no, the reason we have multiple deadlines a term as well is we want you to succeed. There's no real wrong, you know, we're not trying to get you guys, like, we don't want to tell people no. So if we have told you no, it's most likely because we're also going to give you some critique on how to improve your application. We do this for applications that are like disastrously bad. Like the ones that I'm like, did you read? You know, like sometimes we just get like, you know, a picture of a receipt and like a LOL please, like I'm being ridiculous, but sometimes people really do submit the most random stuff, and sometimes people just ask for flights and things like that, and I'm like, you have absolutely no description of your project besides that you want a plane ticket to Italy, and that's just not going to happen. But sometimes they're really good. Like for a senior work 2 years ago, we had a really good application. It was well written, it was clear, it was organized, you know, everything, it was all like one PDF. It existed in the same world. It was all like formatted nicely, but it was also just genuine, and they had all the information in a very clear budget of how they were going to find these things, how the materials would be used, and some like decent work from the past. We don't, you know, we're not judging you based on the quality of your work. We're judging you based on the ability to produce a final product. So we want to see final products of things, you know. But then, you know, maybe one or two, but then just like sketches, ideas, you know, that you're thinking, excited, you know, you want to make something. We can tell that from an application. So we don't want to say no. We never want to say no. but we had a good application. But they asked for like $700 worth of stuff, and for like a $200 to ship like bison's bones from like the Midwest to Bennington. And we were like, I don't know about that one. So sometimes we really do get funny things. Does that answer your question, Matt? Yeah, we funded theater stuff, we funded music stuff. It's not just VAPA. I mean, that's all VAPA, not just VA.
I'll mention too. So in spring 2020, we had a student who was recording an album as a component of senior work, but had to go home early due to COVID. So the committee was able to allocate a really nice microphone and ship it to the home address of the student so they could complete the work. As a frame of reference for you, there's kind of a distinction between different types of supplies. There is sometimes an ask if you're buying supplies that are more like tools, i.e. a microphone or a camera, that once your project is completed, it then gets returned to campus for use. The cool thing about that is you get what you need, and then after it's done, that tool then has a new half-life of supporting other students and other disciplines. So that microphone is now being used in the recording studio in Jennings quite a lot, actually. So know that too. For some materials, we may request to have it returned, but it's returned because it then goes back into the greater pool of available tech that the whole campus gets to utilize. So.
Thank you, Matt. That's so true, and reminds me of something I just want to highlight before we move on, is that you really can achieve things, and there's multiple options for you to get access to things to make work. Say you wanted this really cool camera, or a really nice piece of equipment, like you could get it. This is achievable to you. Like you can apply, and it's very cool that then the college will then have it. If you think it's something like the college will use too, like you can get stuff for school like this. And like, anyway. Thank you.
Cool. Any questions about SEA for Phoebe? Five, four, three, two. And that's Phoebe. Thanks, Phoebes. Appreciate it. Yeah, so for more information about SEA, again, always feel free to connect with them directly. The student engagement email account, which effectively just goes to me, I respond to all day, every day. So if you ever have